Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, it's Dr. Saira Shabir here. Here is my first lecture of Fundamentals of Organic Chemistry with you. However, you have already been learning about fundamentals of organic chemistry. So today we shall study about the synthesis and reactions of aromatic hydrocarbons. In today's class, we shall discuss which compounds chemistry fall under the category of aromatic hydrocarbons, how these aromatic hydrocarbons can be synthesized from easily accessible precursors, and how does they react with other organic or inorganic molecules. This is what we call synthesis and reactions of aromatic hydrocarbons. Let's have a look on what are the hydrocarbons and how these two terms, that is hydrocarbon and aromatic, are related. Basically, hydrocarbons are hydrogen and carbon containing compounds that are broadly classified into open chain and closed chain compounds depending upon the structure of hydrocarbons. Open chain compounds depending upon the presence or absence of double or triple bond. These are classified into saturated or unsaturated. While closed chain compounds, they can be homo or heterocyclic in the presence or absence of heteroatom. Basically heteroatom क्या होता है? Is an atom that is other than hydrogen or carbon, जिसमें हम nitrogen, oxygen, sulfur, these kind of atoms, these are called heteroatoms. When we talk about homocyclic compounds, these are saturated carbon chains that form ring. But in contrast to homocyclic compounds, aromatic compounds, you can say that when we talk about homocyclic compounds, they can be aromatic and they can be they can be saturated and they can be aromatic. In case if they are unsaturated compounds, we can define them as we say them aromatic. Let's have a look at which kind of compounds are called aromatic hydrocarbons. Basically, aromatic hydrocarbons are defined as the circularly structured organic compounds that contain sigma bonds along with delocalized pi electrons. They are also referred to as arenes or aryl hydrocarbons. If we talk about this definition, then from this definition we can come to know about few things. That for aromaticity, there is one thing, that is they should be circularly structured compounds or cyclic compounds, and the other thing, they should have alternate single and double bonds in there, and these are basically what is special about these alternating single and double bonds, that makes this system as delocalized system, that electrons no longer belong to one atom, or they are part of the whole system then, and then these atoms, all atoms contributing the delocalized pi electrons, they should be planar and they should be in plane to help the aromaticity. So that's why these compounds are basically sometimes just like if we take an example of these aromatic compounds, and these are the one leading example is of aromatic, like benzene is here. In case of benzene, we have a six-membered carbon skeleton, that is a circular structure, basically cyclic structure, and it has three alternating single and double bonds there. And benzene structure, because of the delocalization, we often put a circle inside instead of these three alternating single and double bonds. And one of them is like benzene, but this is not like aromatic compounds are not just limited to benzene. They can have substituents on this benzene structure, and just like if there is a methyl group present, we call it as toluene, and if there are two methyl group present, then we say that it is xylene is there. And then according to the positioning of these two methyl groups relevant to each other, we call these as ortho, meta or para-xylenes. And then we have indene, where there are two rings fused together, but they are aromatic as a whole. And then we have two benzene group. You can say that it looks like that there are two benzene, but actually there are four carbons in addition to the one benzene ring. So anyways, it is aromatic and we call it as naphthalene. And they can be two benzene groups attached to each other through a single bond, that is biphenyl, and the three benzene rings attached together are the it's a tricyclic compound. It can be anthracene or phenanthrene depending upon the connectivities. So these are all compounds are the examples. Continuing the introduction of aromatic hydrocarbons, these are a few aromatic hydrocarbons are you can say aromatic compounds whose common names and structures you had better remember. These include toluene that has a methyl group attached on the benzene ring. Also phenol. Phenol has hydroxyl group attached to the benzene ring. Similarly, aniline. In aniline is a amino group attached to the benzene ring. Acetophenone. These are very commonly used in organic transformation. Acetophenone has a acyl group attached with the benzene ring. If there is a formyl group present on the benzene ring, we call it as benzaldehyde. Benzoic acid has a carboxyl group. Orthoxylene. Xylene, basically when there are two methyl groups attached to the benzene skeleton, we call it xylene. So if there are two methyl groups, they are on the adjacent carbon, we call it orthoxylene. In case if these two methyl groups, they are 1 and 3 position, then we call it metaxylene. If it is 1 and 4 position methyl group, then we call it as paraxylene. In case of styrene, there is a vinyl group attached to the benzene ring. Okay. When we talk about aromatic hydrocarbons, then we can generalize some physical properties that are characteristic of these aromatic hydrocarbons. And few of them are because these are organic in nature, so they prefer just like dissolve like, so they prefer organic compounds, just like they are insoluble in water, so they keep their identity separate from water, and also they are used as a very good solvent. We know many organic solvents like benzene is used as a solvent, and other solvents based on hydrocarbons, aromatic hydrocarbons. They are also very important in organic laboratories. So these, another interesting feature of these one is that most of these, not all though, but most of these are less dense than water. And these compounds most of them are volatile, and mostly these are colorless, and they are highly flammable liquids, means they are very readily ignitable when they come in contact with a spark, and they burn with a sooty flame because of incomplete combustion. And they are when we talk about aromatic hydrocarbons, then most of these are very toxic, and they are very hazardous for health. We know about benzene toxicity too. These compounds are readily in the start or at previous times, we used to isolate or get these aromatic hydrocarbons from coal tar, but now these days petroleum cracking and other, we subject petroleum to high temperature with special catalyst, and then we get a mixture of these you can say that aromatic hydrocarbons. And these aromatic hydrocarbons can be separated by utilizing different analytical techniques, like we have chromatography, or you can say that we have fractional distillation. These type of techniques can be used. And just like you know about mostly we try, if there is some natural source, we try to isolate, or we try to get that compound from the, and just as we have discussed that these compounds are toxic in nature. Benzene vapors can be toxic for health, and in their inhalation can cause nausea as well as respiratory problems. Apart from benzene, there are many other aromatic compounds that are not very healthy, just like when we talk about refueling our automobiles, because gasoline contain about 2% of benzene. So benzene, as we said, that this inhalation of benzene, it is very dangerous for health. So changing or refueling automobiles is also not very healthy for health. Similarly, when we say that we are being around a cigarette smoker, it does mean that there are some certain organic compounds, just like tobacco is basically one of the aromatic compound. So its combustion also gives these aromatic vapors that are not very healthy for health. Talking about aromaticity, that is the basically property responsible for the different feature or characteristics of aromatic hydrocarbons. Aromaticity is if we talk about the definition of aromaticity, so aromaticity is a property of compound that have certain features like being cyclic or planar. They have planar structures, with a ring of resonating bonds in there. If we talk about resonating bonds, then resonating bonds are the conjugated bonds, or you can say that alternating single or double bonds. They give increased stability compared to other geometric or connective arrangement with some same set of atoms. And basically, when we talk about aromaticity, then aromaticity word was driven from the Greek word aroma, that it does mean the fragrance or smell. And this smell, why aromaticity was like, it was coined with the term aroma, because the earliest known compounds, just like benzaldehyde or the other compounds, they had some peculiar smells, like some fruity smells, or you can say some pinching smells. So because of these aromas and these fragrances, aromatic compounds, they were like the term aromaticity or aromatic compounds, it was driven. So these compounds, one thing, they should be cyclic. Why cyclic? Because it helps in the delocalization of pi electrons. Planar structure, because the overlap of orbitals become more intense or more efficient. And then we talk about the resonance. Basically, what is resonance? Resonance is for resonance, it is not necessary that the compounds are molecules should be cyclic, but the important thing is that it should be planar. Like the bonds involved in resonance, they should have planar double and single bonds present. So these double and single bonds, what they do, then if we talk about the alternating double and single bonds, then they are basically p orbitals responsible for the pi overlap. So they overlap on the either side of the bond, so it gives them increased overlap, like very efficient overlap, and it helps to decrease the energy of the system. If the energy of the system is decreased, it means that it helps to increase the stability. So these compounds are basically, if we have some hypothetical compounds made by the similar arrangement of atom, but the actual compounds, they are much more stable than those hypothetical compounds. And there are a few examples here, like we have some significant aromatic compounds, and we know that amino acids, they are how much important they are for the living organisms, especially for human beings. They are very important. We have total 22 amino acid, standard amino acid. That out of these 22, 4 are aromatic amino acid. One of them is histidine. Then we have phenylalanine and tryptophan and tyrosine. Similarly, all nitrogenous bases, like the basis of these nucleic acids, they are all aromatic in nature, like adenine, thymine, cytosine, guanine and uracil. It means our nucleic acid, it is must to have these aromatic compounds. So these are very crucial for living organisms, their survival as well as for their reproduction. Similarly, in plants, a very important part is chlorophyll. So chlorophyll is also aromatic in nature. Similarly, when we talk about our blood, then the essential or the most important component of blood is hemoglobin. So this hemoglobin contains the heme units. So heme units are aromatic in nature, like 4 furan rings are aromatic basically. So this is how we can say that aromatic compounds are very important to us, and they are very much stable compounds. Right. Coming to the synthesis of aromatic compounds. When we talk about aromatic compounds, then let's start from the very basic, that is the benzene ring. When we talk about benzene, then benzene basically, benzene is not that compound that was rare in nature. Benzene was already occurring in nature, and it has natural occurrence too. Like trace amounts of benzene were found in petroleum and coal, and it is a basically byproduct of incomplete combustion of many materials. However, for the commercial use until World War II, most benzene was obtained as a byproduct of coke production, that is overcooked, we have coal tar too. So these kind of things that were naturally occurring, we could get them from benzene as a byproduct of volcano eruption too. But however, as the time went by, and we said that the benzene use got enhanced, and that's why the demand of benzene got increased. So today we see that the increase of because of the high demands of the growing polymer industry too. So we got benzene demand got increased, and today most benzene come from the petroleum Most of the benzene, it comes from the petroleum industry, while the other small fraction being produced from the natural resource, that is the coal. But there are few synthetic, if we talk about the synthesis of benzene or benzene type of compounds are their derivatives. Then we have laboratory synthesis too, that are easy to perform and they can be conducted within laboratory domains. But there are industrial production going on too for benzene to meet the like you can say the increased demands of benzene. Some of these methods are listed here, like when we talk about the laboratory synthesis of benzene, then benzene can be synthesized from the cyclic polymerization of alkynes like acetylene, and then we have the decarboxylation of aromatic acids, similarly synthesis from the phenols, and then the synthesis from the benzene sulfonic acid. If we talk about the industrial production of benzene, then it can be synthesized by the catalytical reforming as well as the steam cracking. We can degrade the petroleum as well as some other naturally occurring compounds like coal tar, and then toluene hydrodealkylation can be done to obtain. Okay, then talking about synthesis, laboratory synthesis of benzenes. The first synthesis, we say it the cyclic polymerization of alkynes. Basically, benzene can be prepared from ethine by the process of cyclic polymerization. What happens in this process is, ethine is passed through a red hot iron tube at almost 873 Kelvin temperature. Ethine molecule basically then undergoes cyclic polymerization to form benzene. As you can see that three ethine molecules react together. The arrows are showing the movement of electrons, and then you can see that we get the benzene structure. Another method is that benzene can be prepared from aromatic acids through decarboxylation reaction. That is, if you use benzoic acid, then carbon dioxide eliminates in the presence of calcium oxide and sodium hydroxide on heating. So what we get benzene plus calcium carbonate. Another method is reported where what happens that synthesis can be carried out from phenol. So in this reaction, basically vapors of phenol are passed over heated zinc dust. Zinc dust reduces them from benzene. Another method is that benzene can be synthesized from benzene sulfonic acid. If you have benzene sulfonic acid, when we carry out the hydrolysis of benzene sulfonic acid, that in this process we get benzene and sulfuric acid. So what they told about the mechanism or the procedure of this reaction, that they use steam, because steam is at high temperature and it is very active form of water. It has high energy, so it reacts with benzene sulfonic acid, leading to the formation of benzene. One important way to synthesize benzene at industrial level is through catalytic reforming. Reforming, as the name suggests, we start from the hydrocarbon compounds too, and then we ended up in the aromatic hydrocarbon. So we have mentioned here the conditions for the catalytical reforming. As the name suggests, we have the catalyst, certain range of catalysts, and also a mixture of hydrocarbons can be used for this purpose. And the boiling point range between 60 to 200 degrees Celsius. So accordingly, we have chosen the temperature range, like and what we do for this one, we blend it with hydrogen gas, and then we expose them to the bifunctional platinum chloride or rhenium chloride that acts as a catalyst for the dehydrogenation. And the temperature is kept very high, around 500 to 525 degrees Celsius, and pressure is also like 8 to 50 atmospheric pressure. So what happens under these conditions, aliphatic hydrocarbons, they form rings, they connect together, but at first because just connecting together was not desired, we have to lose hydrogen to become aromatic hydrocarbons. The aromatic hydrocarbons, we can separate them from the other hydrocarbons through the by the extraction of with any one of the number of solvents, including diethyl glycol or sulfolane or benzene, and then we can separate them from other aromatic compounds by distillation. So this is how we start from a mixture of hydrocarbons, and then we get mixture of hydrocarbons too. But the nature of hydrocarbons is changed. It was first At first it was like we had aliphatic hydrocarbons, and then through the catalytic reforming we get to connect the corners of like different hydrocarbons. Aromatic skeletons are formed by the dehydrogenation, and then we get to separate them, like because we get a mixture of these aromatic hydrocarbons. So we use some certain solvents and then extract them, and then they can distill them and then get these fractions separate. The next industrial synthesis of benzene is through the toluene hydrodealkylation. As the name suggests, hydrodealkylation is about the removing alkyl part from toluene, and then this is done by the help of hydrogen. And how it is done, because if you remember the structure of toluene, then it has a benzene ring, and on benzene ring there is a methyl group attached, and then this methyl group can be dealkylated or can be removed from benzene with the help of hydrogen gas. So how it is done, that we have to, like in this process, toluene is mixed with hydrogen, and after the mixing with hydrogen we have to use certain catalysts for them. They can be chromium, molybdenum or platinum based catalysts, and then these catalysts are provided with a very high temperature, like 500 to 600 degrees Celsius at 40 to 60 atmospheric pressure. That is quite high pressure. At these pressure and temperature, the hydrocarbons, it is also said that so even higher temperature can be used instead of using this catalyst, and under these conditions toluene undergoes dealkylation according to the chemical reaction shown here, where toluene reacts with hydrogen and it yields benzene and methane. The next industrial process for the production of benzene is steam cracking. What we do as in the steam cracking is basically it is a process of producing some unsaturated hydrocarbons like ethylene and other olefins from aliphatic hydrocarbons. As the name suggests, we use the steam in here, but depending upon that which kind of you can say the feedstock, or you say that starting materials are used, the product can also be changed. Just like depending upon the feedstock, the olefins are changed. Steam cracking, basically it can produce benzene rich liquid byproduct, and this byproduct is called pyrolysis gasoline. And by pyrolysis gasoline, this is the basically byproduct, but this byproduct can be blended with other hydrocarbons or the additives, and then it can be used to, we can distill this hydrocarbon to get different components, and by after one of these components is the benzene. Now we shall discuss the reactions of aromatic hydrocarbons. Basically there are four types of reactions. We call them electrophilic substitution reaction, nucleophilic aromatic substitution, redox reaction, that is reduction or oxidation reaction, and coupling reactions. Okay, one of the most common way aromatic hydrocarbons undergo reaction, you can say that most of the time the reactions that are in which aromatic hydrocarbons are involved, these are electrophilic substitution reaction. When we talk about electrophilic substitution reaction, it means that they are some electrophiles that can attack benzene ring, and these electrophiles they substitute certain other electrophile on the benzene ring. So which kind of, because electrophiles can only attack on the nucleophilic position. We have discussed that aromatic compounds are like, the aromaticity is basically driven by the conjugation, and conjugation is the overlap of p orbitals together, on extended overlap of p orbitals because of the resonating bonds. And if you have a look on the electronic cloud, because in the pi bond the electron density, it becomes it increases above and below the plane of containing the nuclei. So in here the electronic clouds, they are more exposed and they are very intense here because of the extended overlap. But one thing is that it can act as a nucleophile. So that's how electrophilic substitution reactions takes place. They find attraction in these exposed electrons. But on the other hand, we see that these aromatic systems, they are very much stable. They are not very, don't want to react, because why they don't want to react? Because they are very stable compounds and the energy of the system is very low. So in order to like if you want to react with certain very stable compound, it means that you have to be strong enough to disturb the stability. It means that the electrophile that needs to react with the aromatic compound, it should be strong enough to disturb this aromatic stability. That's why we have to generate very strong electrophile if we want to react with these aromatic rings. So the reaction, how it happens, that first of all aromatic, this electrophile, it gets attacked by this. If there is a strong electrophile means it has a very high deficiency of electrons in it. So if there is such a electrophile present in the vicinity or in the environment of this benzene ring, or you can say aromatic compound, so these electrons can attack on this electrophile. So after the if the attack is done on this electrophile, so aromatic stability is like decreased or it is disrupted. So these electrons are given to electrophile, and here we get a sp3 hybridized carbon atom, but there comes a positive charge on the adjacent carbon atom. But this positive charge doesn't stay stable on one carbon atom, because there are so many p orbitals that can accommodate its positive charge. Just like this p orbital can give its electron to this positively charged carbon, because this one is also empty p orbital, you can say. So it keeps moving, that there is one electron keeps moving here and then here, so positive charge get distributed on all this ring, and this we get a intermediate type of complex. We call it as sigma complex. Why sigma complex? Because there is a hydrogen bond sp3 hybridized carbon present in here. And then in the next step, what happens, that there is a base that can abstract this proton, and the driving force behind this step is like when the hydrogen leaves, and the electron goes to the next carbon to accommodate the positive charge, and when positive charge is neutralized, we get the aromatic stability again. So the stability is the driving force here. When the stability is obtained, then we get if you compare the final product from with the starting material, then everything is same except there is one electrophile that has replaced hydrogen. So hydrogen is the H plus, or you can say proton was the leaving electrophile, or here is the electrophile was attached here. And then if you think about this reaction, then here we had one this one electrophile has substituted. Okay. Continuing the same electrophilic substitution reaction, there are different variations, like you can say the different possible explanation. When we change electrophile, like in case of halogenation, we substitute this hydrogen by a halogen, and there is the electrophile is different, that is the brominium, or you can say halogen. इस पे हेलोजन होगा जिसपे पॉजिटिव चार्ज होगा, ठीक है. सल्फोनेशन, दैट्स अ डिफरेंट थिंग, एंड जिसमें आपके पास जो है वो आप सल्फोनेट ग्रुप जो है वो इंट्रोड्यूस करवा रहे हैं, और बेंजीन इन नाइट्रेशन यू इंट्रोड्यूस NO3 ग्रुप, ठीक है. तो NO3 जो है वो इस केस में जो है वो आपके पास डिफरेंट इलेक्ट्रोफाइल यूज़ करके वी कैन रिप्लेस हाइड्रोजन एंड गेट the particular electrophile on the benzene ring. Friedel-Crafts alkylation में जो है वो we have different alkyl groups, or you can say that acylation is also done by Friedel-Crafts. But in सब में जो है वो the same mechanism is used. That is there are two-step reaction. In one step, what happens, that the electronic load of benzene, it attacks on the electrophilic center, or you can say the electrophile that has, there is some group that has less electrons, so it needs electrons. So what happens, that electronic load basically attacks on electrophile. So this is what we call एरीनियम आयन, जिसके हमने पहले जो है वो सिग्मा कम्प्लेक्स भी कहा था. वहाँ पे सिग्मा कम्प्लेक्स में हमने देखा था that there is a carbon where at first there was one hydrogen, but now after the breakage of, yeah, you can say the movement of double bonded electrons, what happens, that one carbon is sp3 and one is positively charged because it lacks electrons now. So on one sp3 hybridized carbon there is E and H attached together, but this positive charge, it keeps moving on the ring. So at one time it's present on the ortho position to E group or electrophile, then next time it moves to the para position. There is a positive charge on the para position, and then it moves and again it goes ortho to E. So this, because it keeps, this is what we call resonance, it keeps delocalized over the ring, so we call it as sigma complex or rhenium ion. These three structures, they are equivalent. So what happened, it was the first step. The first step was basically slow step, because it involves two species, that is electrophile, and because here you can say that benzene has to lose its aromaticity too. In this fast step, what happens, because it's fast, because there are involved, you can say that carbocation is involved, so these are very reactive species. Carbocation, what happens, and also the driving force for this reaction is the stability of the product. Here when you can see that when A abstract proton, then again this sigma complex obtains aromaticity. So this case जो है वो driving force is the aromaticity of the product, and we get the substituted product where E replaced H, and we get we call it as electrophilic substitution reaction, that some electrophile substituted hydrogen present already in the benzene group. Hydrocarbons. Coming to the reference books, these are very good books. Jerry Marsh and M. Yunus की book है. Then McMurray. I followed McMurray for a few organic reactions and also some basics of. So you can also see. If you don't have these books, then I can send you these books. So you don't have to worry about the material. And assignments. There are some assignment. I would like you to go through them, and then please check them. If you have any problem, then we shall discuss it. Thank you.